Nerdrotic.com.
The lowest ever ratings in the history of Doctor Who just got posted today. The last episode did a consolidated number of 3.1 million, which ties the lowest episode from Sylvester McCoy's run back in 1989. Damn. Battlefield. And of course, Sylvester McCoy just had overnights, didn't have no 7 days or consolidated or anything like that. So in my eyes, anyway, all of this shit is Sylvester McCoy's beaten. But the way that they do the ratings, so if we have to try and play it by their rules, it still means it's the lowest ever viewed episode of Doctor Who with, by the way, the latest episodes overnights doing even worse than the week before. So theoretically, next week, we could break the record 2 weeks in a row for the lowest ever Doctor Who. So I think the BBC are going to try everything in their power to fudge this number here. But what do you think, Gary, as a once upon a time, maybe Doctor Who fan?
Completely unsurprised. I am actually surprised that they've hung on this long, that it didn't go under 2 million for overnight. But I mean, humanity never ceases to surprise me, and the lowest common denominator just hanging on for... Yeah, I just disrespected the 2 million people who watch this show who aren't YouTubers and who aren't clowning it. I did. Because what the fuck are you watching? What are you waiting for? It's like this is going down exactly how we expected as. So it's post dead. And we are now in apathy phase. This happens to every single franchise or story that betrays its audience and betrays its core character. And when you betray the core character of a serialized story, you betray the audience, and then the audience leaves. There's always going to be hangers-on who just like the words Doctor Who, like the logo. That's it. Or there's channels, and it was a British institution, but what it is now is where Star Wars is headed very fast. If Marvel stays on this road, is headed very fast. Star Trek is already there. We're already seeing it with Star Trek. So we're in the post-apocalypse of all this. And here we are.
They love to kill our heroes, They kill the franchises we love. James Bond, Star Wars, Star Trek, you name it. It's all gone to shit.
Yeah, and there was an article from a guy running the BBC, and he essentially said, hey, we know we're making non-economic decisions, but it's the right thing to do for progressivism with the public's money. When you're making non-economic decisions, because it's not your money to make it. You're getting it from the British public with the license fee. So it's easy to spend somebody else's money. We call them sugar daddies. Chuck, Graham, either of you Doctor Who fans or watch Doctor Who, or where have you sat on this, and where do you sit really on the co-option of these major franchises?
Well, I'm not what you call a Doctor Who fan, but I've certainly watched it. I mean, I watched when Tom Baker, was a phenomenon, and I watched up through the end of Matt Smith, and I lost interest. And my kids were watching it, and I like it. What I can't understand is there a more dedicated fandom than the Doctor Who fandom, and you would just throw that away?
Right.
Let's give them some credit. It took them over 50 years. So
it took them about since 2015. That's how easily and quickly you can kill anything that's so beloved.
Yeah,
no, you're right, Chuck. Fandom for Doctor Who is like one. Star Trek gets a lot of credit for first conventions, and it deserves it. But Doctor Who predates it by many years, and it had a connection of dudes were like getting their 16 millimeter or 8 millimeter whatever cameras, pointing them at the TV. They weren't getting any sound, and then they were on like mailing lists, and you would send them to people in Australia. So that fandom was huge. It was niche, but it was huge and loyal, and stuck around for decades. Like Star Wars is the big mama IP. There'll never be an IP bigger than that. Singular IP. It's a cinematic IP, which is no longer a cinematic IP. But like throwing away Star Trek and particularly Doctor Who, which is, I mean, as you know, as part of your culture.
Yeah.
Part of a country's culture used to be is well, it's insane, but they meant to do it, as you guys just mentioned. It's deliberate. It's absolutely deliberate. The first female doctor, played by Jodie Whittaker, that was a political decision. That was an agenda decision. It wasn't a story-driven decision. Same with Shuri Gawa, Nurse MauLer TM. Nurse what? It's the same thing. So they're not making story decisions, and you can tell. But I caught up on these episodes, dude. Holy shit! Like the last one, like two dudes kissing. That's happened in Doctor Who. That's happened in Doctor Who. No. At the end, I'll save you, white people. No, we can't go with you because you're black. What?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck?
Gary, we've warned you not to watch that much cringe in a row, by the way. Like, that's dangerous. I've seen like some of these episodes weekly. I had to stop. My doctor actually, gave me a very strong word about it. I was starting to, deteriorate, so I thought, yeah, better not. But to hear that you did that, that's very irresponsible. So I'm disappointed.
But did you know, Gary and everyone, that Doctor Who's latest episode, 73 yards, that was a couple of weeks ago now, just broke a new record. It was the highest rated Doctor Who episode of that season.
Who put? Oh, it's Collider. Okay,
Collider. Yeah, Jessie Parker, who looks like she's 5, from Collider. Doctor Who's latest episode, 73 Yards, set an overnight viewership record with 2.62 million views. That was like the 4th lowest overnight of all time or something. But don't worry about that. That's a new record. That's the level of fucking gaslighting nonsense. Is it any wonder that mainstream media is dying? Can we turn this around? Can it be turned around?
It can't. What, mainstream media? Fucking let it die.
No, but I mean, can it be turned around that it's going to get replaced by actual objective articles?
It is by us. I don't know about articles. I mean, there's the Jeremy's still
content,
out there doing his site, but content there is. Yeah, we're doing it now. Like we're doing their job. Hey, thank you, Access Media. Thank you. I appreciate it. You opened the door for a lot of YouTubers. We should all be grateful that you were so resolute on being retarded for so long that all I have is gratitude. Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah, you go to a restaurant and they serve you a shit sandwich. Eventually, you're going to stop going to that restaurant, and that's what's happening with a lot of these franchises these days. You look at it in politics too. Look what just happened this last week in the EU with in France, in Argentina, Germany. There's a lot of changes happening because people are fed up. Real people, regular folks, are just fed up. And I think the analogy applies also to entertainment.
If you served a shit sandwich, you should sue the restaurant.
I complained once at a Chinese restaurant, and the guy said, "You order shit, you eat shit." Oh. But yeah, they got to change course because have you seen the debt these studios are in?
Yes,
it's like there are governments in the world that don't have national debts this large. Seriously, tens of billions of dollars at each studio.
They're still allowed to borrow. They're still allowed to borrow. They're still allowed to acquire
because they have activist investors who are keeping them afloat, especially Disney. But you see, every studio is making horror films because they need the money.
Yeah, and those are bulletproof.
Yeah,
$20 million.
Yeah,
make it for $20 million. It makes $120 million, $200 million. You're good all day long.
Somebody we all know recently called me and said the straight white male is back. They're asking the studios quietly, saying let's get back to making money.
Was that John Milius who called you?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because it sounds like something he'd say.
God, man, that guy's a legend.
It could have been.
It could have been. Well,
doesn't sound like Russell T. Davis.
Deadpool and Wolverine, White Boy Summer. It's going to be White Boy Summer saves the box office at least for one weekend, maybe two.
For a weekend.
Yeah. Well, it was White Boy Summer last year when Tom Cruise did it.
Yeah. Although Bad Boys 4 wasn't bad. It wasn't. I mean, it's not like great cinema, but it was. I liked it. I had fun.
Doing well, right?
Yeah, it did well. It leans into the slap. So like Martin Lawrence slaps Will Smith like multiple times in a scene. Oh. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. So
yeah, I think it did remarkably well. I think it exceeded expectations.
Yeah, because they thought it was going to bomb. Yeah, they thought it was absolutely going to bomb. So
yeah,
good for them. But mostly it's especially with Acolyte and Doctor Who happening from Disney at the same time, message-wise, doing the same thing. Dude, I would love to be done talking about this shit if they would stop making it. Like, I don't make the rules. I make the observations. With like right before the Acolyte, there was the Furiosa controversy, which isn't a controversy at all. A bunch of people got upset because they liked the movie. I liked the movie. I thought it was a good movie, but I completely understand why nobody fucking watched it. It's really obvious why nobody watched it. And that happens when you have brand damage. This is the fatigue everybody talks about. That's it. Not that this was going to do great anyway. I think but if it had Mel Gibson playing Mad Max, it would have made its money back in a couple of weeks.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So they're not making the smart business decisions, right? They're making the message decisions. I'd love to be done talking about this, but that's true. Even though she wasn't a girl boss, I'll say it a million times, she wasn't a girl boss in it. She kind of reacts to everything and kind of observes what's going on, which really fits in that world.
Right.
It's irrelevant. It's utterly irrelevant. People are sick and tired of just the vision. Your eyes are already rolling. Oh God, it's another fucking girl boss. Oh. Another scrawny little girl boss who's going to be doing this or that. Regardless of whether they do or not, it is fatigue. They're done with it. The people are just like, well, men, they've got nothing at the cinema because they don't have any fucking masculinity whatsoever. They've got nothing to look at there. So who are their masculine heroes? They don't exist anymore because they're cucked in TV, they're cucked in movies now, they're subservient to everyone else. So why should we give them the benefit of the doubt anymore? I watched Fury Road. I liked Fury Road. I thought it was a good film. I didn't give two shits about Furiosa though. In terms of, do I need to know anything about her? No. I got what I wanted from that film. I don't need to know how she lost her arm. I don't need to know how she got a fucking cat. I don't need to know how she fucking put black on the top of her head. I don't need to know any of these things. They're absolutely irrelevant. It's a character that was served in a film. Now give me Mad fucking Max, please. And I'd actually like one of his films. That'd be nice.
Furiosa is on the way to make or end at about 175 million, right? And losses of over 200 million. At least that's like the scary possible reality for them. Which means even if they did Fury Road numbers, the studio probably wouldn't have been that happy. They would have been like, no, it's okay. Which to me is just fucking bizarre. What the hell are you thinking? Why would you even think it would make more than Fury Road? It was never gonna. And to be fair, if it was Fury Road 2, I wouldn't have expected necessarily that it would get more than Fury Road. It's such a... Like, what are you guys doing? Mad Max. You might want to put Max in.
But that's why they had to subtitle it a Mad Max saga.
Well, and for the record, like, I think a Mel Gibson old Mad Max definitely would have made more money. However, I'm not sure Mad Max is a franchise that can get upwards of like the kind of numbers they clearly want. Agreed. And this is something they've done before. They kill franchises by plugging way too much budget into them. And then like, oh, I guess nobody cares about this. Like, no, we did. We didn't care about it in the same way we care about a fucking enormous blockbuster, though.
Well, they love to take franchises, but not give the love to the franchise. For example, they'll do a TV show called Gotham with no Batman in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit? Smallville, but at least that had Superman learning his powers in that show. So I'll give that one a slight pass. But, if you're going to do a Mad Max movie, have Mad Max in it, not all these little tertiary spin-offs that really nobody cares about. Just embrace what you got and push it out there.
Especially for the reason they leave it out is it's a white male. That's the reason they leave it out. And Mel Gibson, right, for him particular. But the reason they left Mad Max out of this one, and George Miller wanted to tell this story first, is because he was interested in a character that nobody was interested in. You still have to give the people what they want. As a writer, of course, you want to do your own thing, but you also have to be a little aware that, like, I need to sell this too. So, like, I think there's a happy medium there, especially when it's an IP.
If it was a big old boardroom and someone said, we're making the Furiosa movie, damn it, and hits the table, you'd be like, okay, you're going to make a lot less money as long as you know that.
Yep.
No matter how good you make it, doesn't matter.
Nerdrotic.com. Please subscribe.